What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, also want to give a shout out to some other people. I want to give a shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason with the $10 donation via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love. And I also want to give a shout out to RM Jr. 1998 for the $70 donation via the PayPal. He says, happy birthday to Raw Nation. Much respect to you for showing love, man. And I want to thank all you guys for being supporters of this platform. So it happened again. Now, at the Juneteenth celebration last week at the White House, I talked about some aspects of it on my Patreon, not necessarily about him freezing again. But I was talking about something else on there. But at that event, he appeared to freeze. But this time, at a Democratic fundraiser, where he appeared with Jimmy Kimmel and Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, he appeared to freeze yet again, as if he became unaware of his surroundings. And then he was escorted off stage, led by the hand like a toddler by Barack Obama. Now, this was reported by the New York Post and other reputable sources. Then I started seeing all these sites saying, and I see people who are Democratic shills, grifters, whatever you may call it, saying, oh, the tape was edited and he didn't really freeze. And I was starting to believe that because, that does happen. But then I saw people uploading amateur video from the event. These are people, their cell phones. There was no splicing. I didn't see any split in the video, none of that. He did indeed freeze up on stage. This had happened again. And this come in the wake of a bunch of other things. Him at a recent, a G7 summit where he wandered off, had to be led back by, I guess his team, his handlers, whatever. Look, man, at this point, damn a party. Damn whatever your partisan views are or what your political affiliation. It's just downright dangerous and technically it's against the Constitution at this point for this guy to still be president. And I say that because I don't see how the 25th Amendment should not be invoked at this point. I'm still not 100% there as far as him being completely gone because there's sometimes, he could be having senior moments, which, to be honest, do you really want a president having senior moments? That in itself, to me, look, a person could be in their 80s and be fit for office. Now, of course, they're not going to be in the physical prime of their lives. But even into your 80s, you can still be mentally quite sharp. Bernie Sanders is older than Joe Biden. He's still mentally sharp, although Bernie Sanders did have a mild heart attack a few years ago. So, with Joe Biden, I think he's physically fit. But I put it to you like this. When I was growing up as a kid, Democrats hoot and hollered about Ronald Reagan not being fit for office the last term of his presidency, right? And he did have certain moments where, reportedly he fell asleep in meetings. His own son, Ron Reagan Jr., said that, he suspect that his father may have started slipping into Alzheimer's as early as 1985, or at least, if not Alzheimer's, some sort of mild cognitive decline as early as 85, definitely by 87. Which not necessarily mean that he had Alzheimer's, but he definitely was declining. Now, mind you, When Ronald Reagan ran for his second term, he was 73, which at the time made him the oldest president. Running for his second term. When he left office, he was 77, almost 78. Joe Biden became president at age 78. He's now running for re-election. He's 81. If he wins re-election, he'll be 82 when he's inaugurated. And if he's still around at the end of his next term, he'll be 86. Do we really want a man who is clearly showing signs that he shouldn't be in the position he's in? Do we really want to, I mean, at some point, man, look, I'm starting to think that the Democratic Party, the leadership, the cabinet, his handlers, the Democratic hierarchy, inner circle, they're committing a crime by having this man in this position, all for the sake of political power, because they see that he's the only one. They think he's the only one that could beat Donald Trump. So they're putting their own political ambitions ahead of the what's best for the country. I mean, because at this point, I don't see how you can't see it anymore. And the media, which is left-wing, is called, very left-wing and biased, heavily biased toward Biden, with the exception of Fox News and other affiliates, which by themselves, they're extraordinarily biased for Trump. But as a whole, the media is extraordinarily biased for the Democrats. I mean, that's just not a opinion. That's a fact. That's a fact. And they're always reporting, certain things. They have been downplaying RFK Jr. for the longest time. And why is that? Because they believe that if RFK Jr. is pushed more, that he's probably going to hurt Biden more than Trump. But let there be polling that has showed that he would hurt Trump more than Biden, and they'll be pushing RFK Jr. all day. Because, I mean, he doesn't have a snowball in hell chance of winning, but hey, if he can hurt Trump, they'll push him. Which, to me, look, like I said, I'm not endorsing Trump on this channel. The problem I'm having is both of these guys, to a great extent, are showing cognitive impairment. But with Trump, he at least appears to be 90% there. Joe Biden sometimes seems like he's blacking out. I mean, this is some scary shit. And by the way, the 25th Amendment was adopted in the case that the president is unable to perform his duties. And if he's unable, then the president can be removed. And I forgot exactly how they go about it, but the president can be removed, obviously, because he's unable to perform his duties. And we've had presidents who have been in office who really should have resigned. The first one that comes to mind is Woodrow Wilson. After he had that stroke on October 3rd of 1919, it was a devastating stroke which nearly killed him. He was essentially bedridden for most of the rest of his term, which didn't end back in those days until March of 1921. Inauguration day wasn't moved until January in 1937. So basically, that's the closest we ever came to a female president, because essentially his wife and the doctor, Wilson's doctor, ran the country for the last year and a half of his term. And then Franklin Delano Roosevelt, for the last year and some change of his presidency, was dying. Like he had severe heart disease. Probably had suffered a couple of heart attacks. Probably had some minor strokes. At times was literally blacking out on his desk. He'll be signing a piece of legislation, and then all of a sudden he'll just stare off into space, and the pen will just crawl and he had to be snapped back into it. He was snapped back into it after a while. But he already was showing signs he was suffering from TIAs and mini strokes and cognitive decline. But he ran for re-election selfishly. So the 25th Amendment was invoked partially for that. Then Eisenhower had a heart attack in 1955. LBJ was able to serve out his 6 years, but he had a history of heart disease. So this was something put in the Constitution to help keep the country away from a disaster where there's a president in office who is unable to discharge his duties. And I think at this point, man, it's a crime, and it's very irresponsible for this man to be running for re-election. But to be honest with you, we also have to keep in mind that Joe Biden is probably just a figurehead at this point, and that he's not really running things. A lot of people have the theory that Barack Obama is kind of, the president. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to say he's the president, but Barack Obama has a lot of influence in his term. And some people say this as a third Obama term. I don't know. But anyway, hate to go on long like this, man, but this is ridiculous, man. Really is. Tell me what you guys